Welcome. This is the best stories of our entitled parents. Volume 1. Be sure to subscribe for more tasty stories from the internet. And please hit the like button. The first story is called, My Parents Found Out That I Have Money, Wants Me to Give It All to Them. I made this account just to post this cause they won't stop bugging me. Backstory: so my parents disowned me for being an atheist. My family is very religious. They will look at you like trash if you say you don't believe in a god. They kicked me out and didn't support me through my last year of college, and I haven't spoken to them for almost 3 years now. Just a few weeks ago I got word from my cousin that my little sister got hospitalized due to dengue, so I went to visit her when she was about to be discharged. When I got there it was just my sister in the room. I asked where my parents were and she said that they were trying to raise funds for the hospital bill. Turns out my parents' medical insurance didn't cover most of the hospital bill and left a large out-of-pocket, around 26,000 Philippine pesos. If there are any Filipinos out there, you know, is this a large amount already? Fortunately, I was able to save up a lot of money the past year. So I went ahead and paid for it. When my parents came back I told them it's already been paid for and that we're just waiting for the discharge orders. The first questions they ask is why was I there and where did I get the money from? I explained my cousin told me what happened and that I was saving money for my little sister's college. They didn't even thank me, and the next question they asked was how much money I have saved. I didn't give them the amount, but they insisted I should give it to them since my sister is living with them. I told them no and that I will give it to my sister personally once she enters college. It's her last year of high school. That wasn't good enough for them. They keep saying they need the money but won't even specify what the money would be for. I still didn't budge. A week passed and they still don't stop bugging me, calling me ungrateful to them as my parents, so on and so forth, even asking my girlfriend to have her talk to me about giving them the money. The second story is called EM Thinks We're a Daycare. Welp, her child is now gone. I used to work in a small chain of bookstores, stationery shops. We'd sell books, pens, paper and so on. It was a quirky little store, straight out of a romantic love novel, or a Stephen King book, if you prefer. This happened a few years ago and I'll reconstruct it from my memory, while trying to be as accurate as possible. I can't guarantee it. The cast of this play. EM is entitled Mother. LG is a little girl. Me is just me. ND is nice dad, of little girl. Now the story. EM walks into the store with LG. It's rather early in the morning. EM looks around, asks me if I could watch her child. Me, oh no, I'm terrible with children, sorry. EM tells me that it's not for that long and I shouldn't be such a fuss about it. I still politely refuse. It's not my job to watch children, I'm afraid to do something wrong. What happens? EM leaves the store. Who do I find hidden in the corner? LG, who seems to be rather shy or fearful. This happened back in a time before everyone had smartphones. The kid obviously didn't have a mobile on it. I suspected the mother also wouldn't. Wasn't too surprised that LG didn't know the number of their landline. I sigh. What are you gonna do? If something happens to that kid while being in the store and you being the only present employee, you're gonna have a bad time. Me, ha girl, what's your name? LG, her name. Me, my name and surname. LG, happy like only kids can be if they think they did something smart or they knew something. My surname is, surname. Now this rang a bell. I had a good customer with the same surname. It turns out that it's her dad. I didn't get paid enough to babysit. In fact, I didn't even get paid enough to do my normal work. I call her dad at his workplace since we saved that number in our system. The call went along those lines. Me. Hi ND. Here's me from Bookstore XY. ND. Oh hi, me. How's it going? I don't remember having any open orders. Me. Yeah, look, listen. Do you have a daughter? ND. Confused. Yes, why do you ask? Me. What's her name? I just wanted to ensure it's really her dad and not just a stupid coincidence. If I think now about it, LG told me it's her dad, so I don't know why I wasn't sure. ND apologizes for EM's behavior and tells me he's gonna pick LG up as soon as possible. While waiting for ND, I picked up one of our sale box with damaged books that we try to sell with huge discount before throwing away, a picture book from Disney. LG tries to read a little, I read a little. ND arrives, LG runs to him and hugs him, crying that mommy was mean to her. ND soothes her and thanks me for babysitting her. He gives me a bottle of wine and buys something small from the store. ND, if EM shows up again, could you not tell her that I picked up LG? Me. What? Why? ND, if you don't feel like it, you don't need to. It's rather complicated and you already did so much for us. ND leaves. In the evening EM shows up. Just to point out, she dropped LG at about 9 o'clock. It was 17:45. EM, where's my daughter? Me. Already chugged about half the bottle of wine and thus a little boost. Your what? EM, my daughter. I dropped her in this store and you were here. Me, waiter drunk for work, but already decided to go for another job or homeless. Both would have been better. Your what? EM was on the edge. Thus I did what I thought was the smartest thing to do. Me, a guy came into the store and picked her up. He seemed nice. Gave me some wine for her. At this point I expected her to explode, attack me, but she just left the store. A few weeks pass and ND and LG come to the store. Both happy to see me. ND asks me if I got a few minutes. An excuse not to work. Obviously I took the time for customer service. Gave LG the same book we've read the last time and had a talk with ND. EM and ND were in the middle of a divorce when EM dropped LG at our store. One of the reasons ND wanted a divorce was that EM wasn't nice to LG. Now in my country as a male it's rather hard to get custody for your child. No matter what. LG wanted to be with ND but that doesn't matter. EM dropping LG in our store was a gift of the heavens. ND took LG to his sister's overnight. EM pretended that LG was sleeping at one of her friends. ND wanted to call them just to ensure that LG is fine. EM didn't want that. LG's friend didn't know where LG is. EM claimed she dropped LG at LG's friend's. ND faked panic and involved the police. EM insisted that LG's friend kidnapped LG. Police asked ND and EM separately and ND told the police what happened. EM still insisted on her dropping LG at LG's friend. ND had proof of it being otherwise since he already called the police when he dropped LG at his sister's house. Now in court ND apparently said something like EM can have all she want, even my wine collection. I just want to be with my daughter. EM, knowing that ND didn't had any money left and had some quite expensive wines, agreed. Daughter ended up with ND, mother paying alimony. What EM didn't knew, ND was replacing his wine collection before the divorce with the cheapest wines he could find at different discounters, gifting away the expensive ones. He knew that EM either is gonna take everything from him or will break his wine collection. We both laugh. I gifted the book to LG who seemed very happy. When EM dropped her she was shy, seemed smaller and now she had such a big smile on her face and was curious for everything. She could read much better than a few weeks ago. She seemed like a bird taking off to fly towards the sun. I absolutely hated my job. But situations like these make me a little bit nostalgic. Somehow I miss direct interactions with customers. On the other hand, I don't. I obviously don't. Our third story is called Your Yard Is Now Our Park. My partner and I purchased the house next door to my best friend. I had lived with him for close to a decade when his kids were babies, so they viewed my house as an extension of theirs, and were in and out all day, every day. I have a more flexible schedule than he and his wife, so I have them in the mornings, after school, and on days off of school. I had a pool in my yard, and because my friend's kids were still little, I installed a retractable cover and made sure it was locked so they couldn't open it. My friend's yard had one of those wood fort, climbing wall, swing set deals and a large sandbox. Throughout the year, we spent most evenings outside, grilling, drinking, and watching the kids play and swim and whatever. One summer day, I came home from work a little earlier than normal, and started to prep for dinner. I heard a knock at my back door, which was odd, since my buddy's kids never knocked. I went to see who it was and discovered a mom and two kids who looked to be maybe 5 to 7 years old. As I opened the door, she informed me that her kids needed to use the bathroom and that I needed to come out and get the cover off my pool. I was confused and asked her to repeat herself, and she said that her kids needed to pee and that they were hot and bored with playing in the sandbox, so I needed to open up my pool. I asked her why she was in my friend's yard and what made her think her kids were welcome to swim in my pool, or use my bathroom for that matter. She got really bitchy and told me that she had moved into the house behind us and that she had watched my buddy's kids come over all the time and I opened the pool for them. She insisted that since I was willing to open my pool for the kids next door, I should also open it for the children who lived behind me. I tried explaining the relationship between my best friend's family and mine. She claimed it didn't matter that I had known them since birth and pretty much had helped raise them, I just needed to get to know her kids too and it would be okay. I told her no and closed the door on her. She spent a while knocking and fussing at me through the window, and then had her kids pee in a planter on the side of the patio. When I still didn't react, she took her kids back into my friend's yard to play on the swings. I texted him to let him know what was going on. Right at the moment he was letting his 300+ pounds worth of new fires out into the yard without noticing the unwelcome visitors. The mom starts shrieking and climbs up into the fort, leaving both kids on the swings. She starts demanding that we put the dogs inside and how dare my friend let his dogs out into his own yard when her kids are clearly playing there. He tells her to GTFO and calls the police. When the cops arrived, she put on the whole waterworks about how her kids are just looking for friends, and my buddy's kids are somehow bullying her kids, even though they'd never met. That he invited her over just to let his dogs attack her children, blah blah blah. They eventually move her back onto her own property, then come back later to tell us they warned her about coming back. She lived in that house for almost a year before she and her husband divorced. During that year, I had to replace the lock over the pool cover controls 3 times, have a fencing company remove a gate at the back of my property that was meant to let the lawn mower through, and eventually pay a security company to come check on the yard any time we were going to be away for more than a few hours. We found her and her kids in our yards repeatedly, but she'd leave when we got home. What finally resolved the issue was my partner catching her in the pool. She told him she knew the man that owned the house and that he had told her it was okay to swim. He told her he was married to the man that owned the pool and that it's not okay to swim. She apparently had a bad reaction to realizing she was immersing her sons in gay water. We didn't see her again after that. What a wanker. To all humans out there, this isn't how you want to meet your neighbors. By having your kids pee on their planters out of anger. Our last story of this video is called At 2 days past my due date, I shouldn't have used the expectant mothers, parents with small children parking spot. My pregnancy was okay up until the last month. It was 95 degrees outside. I was retaining so much water, my sandals hardly fit on the biggest setting, and I was constantly in pain. It sucked. I run, waddle, to the store for a couple last-minute things for the baby, and I was so relieved that there was a parking spot for pregos and parents near the entrance. I pulled in and took a few moments to chug water and gather my things when I notice a car pull up to my left. They were half in the handicap parking stall and yelling something out the window. I rolled my window down and here, "You shouldn't be in that spot, you don't have kids. My son shouldn't have to walk from the back of the parking lot," or something to that effect. I was a little stunned to be yelled at. TBH, I calmly told her that I was very pregnant, and this stall was for pregnant women too. She kept talking to her son, but at me. "You know what I mean? Sorry son. You have to walk in the heat, because this lady parked in our spot." So, I opened my door and hoisted my giant, land whale-esque body out of my car. She was still turned around talking to her son, and when she finally saw me, I was about 3 feet away from her window. I bent down, lol, no, I tilted my head down, and said, "Do you see how pregnant I am? I think you and your son will be okay walking." And then I saw the son. He was like 7. The kid can walk. She just sighed and drove away. I was so pissed. I wish I said more to her. I wish you did too. You probably had some pretty sweet pregnancy rage to let off. And the universe aligned you with the person who needs to be raged on. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to Reddit Robot for more like this. See you next time.